Okay, welcome. I am streaming a app that I'm developing currently. The app is called CPS Tracker, I suppose. This app is basically a Trello clone in some respects. So you can see it here. You've got lanes. Each lane correlates to somebody who is on your team, and they each have cards associated with them. You can drag and drop cards, move them, assign cards to other people, things like that. You can create new cards. Hello, hi, save that card, appears there. So that's essentially it. Little profile thing, sign up button, of course. So, the point of this is to kind of help organize a set of tasks between a small group of employees, and be able to know if, kind of at a glance, if anybody is stuck on something or is blocked by something. So I've been working with a client developing this, and this is kind of like their vision for what they think will work. Obviously, I'm trying to massage their vision into something that will, work for them, but also be technically feasible, and and something that I can do on my own time. The front end is built in React with TypeScript and GraphQL using Apollo Client, and the back end is using Hasura. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hasura, but that is a kind of like a back-end generator. Real-time GraphQL API based on your Postgres instance. So this is really cool. I've been using it for a while. I've done GraphQL for a while. Really like GraphQL. Big fan of it. But I was looking for something to easily kind of bootstrap the back end. And while I could build the back end myself using Node.js, type ORM, type GraphQL, things like that, this is just faster. I don't have to worry about it. It handles a lot of things like subscriptions and things for me, so that I don't have to worry about setting up infrastructure for PubSub like Redis or anything like that. It's just really nice. I've been loving this product so far. It brings you really close to your data. So, you're creating your tables in Postgres, you're defining like columns on them, defining relationships on your tables, and, and whatever like that. And then it's just generating the GraphQL for you. Now, I know that this is not like the prettiest GraphQL in the world. Like typically with GraphQL, we would say, you don't want like these anemic mutations. You want like things that are actions in your UI. And Hasura is like continuing to iterate and improve in that respect. I think in their 1.2 release, they just released some stuff to be able to like kind of rename mutations and whatever to make them, closer to your domain. But honestly, like it works. Like at least for my app or for my use case, like this is small enough that it just works. It works out okay. It gives me all the filtering options I need, all the slicing options I need, that I could ever possibly want, subscriptions and things like that. So, you just have to know how to combine it together. But so that's kind of like walkthrough of what the app is. Oh, I forgot to mention I'm using Tailwind UI. I started using Tailwind like after I saw a video by Adam Wathan, where he just kind of built a UI with Tailwind CSS. And I was really impressed with it. Tried it out. Felt very similar to Tachyons and some of the other projects. Tachyons. Here it is. Tachyons. So very like reminiscent to this, where you have like these small utility classes. I don't know if small utility classes like .f1, .f2, .i, and you just kind of apply them and build up your your CSS. So it feels very similar to that. This kind of style is called like atomic CSS, I suppose. Each class is like one thing. And the beauty of that is it flattens out the CSS curve. As you're adding more and more styles to your app, like styling more and more things, normally you would have kind of this linear growth in your CSS. Like, yes, maybe you figure out how to reuse a class somewhere, but typically, like if you're creating a CSS class and using it in multiple places that aren't the same component, you're going to potentially be putting yourself in a situation where you could update your CSS for the one component and not realize that you also made changes to the styling in a component elsewhere in your app. So typically best practice would be to like basically copy those styles. And as a result, as you copy those styles, your CSS bundle keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and keeps growing. And Facebook engineering. Yeah, Facebook just released like a post, May 8th. And they were talking about this. They were saying, I don't know if they have it here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. No, it doesn't look like it's in this, but yeah, so in their redesign though, CSS, rethinking CSS. So their old site, they were loading 400 kilobytes of compressed CSS on the page load, and the atomic CSS that you're using on their new page has allowed Facebook to reduce that by 80%, which is huge. But the basic idea is like, I mean, if you just think about it, if you use an F1 utility class once, it's not going to be part of your bundle. But every other time that you style a new component and also use that .f1, it's never going to increase your bundle size. And so, whereas like a CSS class for everything, for every component, like with BEM, or whatever, that's going to be creating like additional CSS for every single component. So your CSS is going to continue to scale up as you create more and more components on your website. But this kind of flattens off because typically you're going to be wanting to keep like a consistent theme and style. You're going to want to use the same colors, the same fonts, the same margin and padding, and colors. And so basically, like, once you've kind of gotten all those base styles in, your CSS is really not growing fast at all, as you add new things. So huge fan of Tailwind CSS. And then Tailwind UI is just Adam Wathan, Steve Schroger, and I think one other person, I don't remember his name. But yeah, just like kind of based off of refactoring UI and just giving you these like awesome, components out of the box that are just, already built to be responsive at different data point, different, not data points, pixel sizes, screen sizes. So just amazing, and you kind of just take this, copy the code, and paste it. Now, I have, heard some people say like, yeah, the problem is like you're still trading off, like your HTML is kind of ugly now. Like you have all this stuff I keep pulling up the dictionary, don't mean to. And I guess my thought process on this is like, yeah, it's not the prettiest, but I don't know. It doesn't really bother me that much. In using it, like I value how easy it is to iterate and tweak components, and I think that like over time, Tailwind will find ways to, kind of eliminate this problem, make it easier. Maybe some kind of like, I think they already do have some kind of alias system, so that if you're constantly doing like something over and over, like doing this set of classes, let's say, if you're doing like this set of classes over and over and over, you can define like a CSS alias for it so that, you can not have to keep doing this. And of course you could just define CSS, a class for this and include all these things in it. But yeah, like, I don't know, it just ends up not really bothering me. I value like how fast I can iterate on UI and get stuff done and be efficient with it. So I've liked it. At the same time though, you're including more stuff, so your HTML size is going to be a little bit bigger. But with React rendering it, not really bigger. Like served over the wire, you're just getting an app.js bundle. But yeah, okay.